What's up, guys? I know I haven't been posting in a while. I was really contemplating on making this video. Well, preferably I wanted to do this video standing in front of my new car, the one I told you guys about that I didn't really disclose what it was, but I wanted to kind of do like a surprise thing around it. I knew it was going to take a little time to get here, but with the way things are looking, seems like it might have some slight delay with the car.
No! God, please, no! No!
I finally came to the decision that I think it was best for me to make a video announcing what the car is, also explaining what things are coming in the future, and also I wanted to tell the story of how I ended up with this car. Because a lot of you guys at home, or just people that follow me on social media, I've been getting nonstop questions as to why I sold the 993. A lot of people didn't expect me to sell the 993, or let alone even sell the RWB build. And it was just one of those situations where like everything just fell into place so well. It felt like it was meant to be for me to go down this route. I'm getting a 2022 911 GTS. I mean, it's still kind of hard to even like grasp the fact that I'm getting a brand new 911, let alone a GTS, well, a GT model. I originally wanted a GT3, the 992 GT3, but as you guys know at home, the allocations for those are very difficult. And for the people that don't know, to land yourself a GT3 right now, a 992 GT3, you're either paying crazy over sticker, which is like some people are paying upwards of $100,000 to $150,000 over sticker to have one because they're just so rare and so hard to get, or like the wait listings is just to even get an allocation slot. People are waiting a year, sometimes 2 years for one, which I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait for one. If I can get one at sticker, I'm willing to wait. But with the ADM, which is dealer markup, that 150 grand over, I can't. That's something that I just wouldn't do. And I mean, to others who have the money to do that, kudos to them. I mean, to some people it's a drop in the bucket. For me, I'm not built that way. I don't have that kind of money to spend, or let alone just to pay $150,000 over for a car. But yeah, so I'm getting a 911 GTS. The story behind it and how this came about is I was entertaining the idea of getting into another 911 for a while. I was debating between a 997. I was debating between getting a G-body, which is like a mid-80s Porsche. But at some point I've always wanted a GT3. That's one of my dream cars. I've always wanted a GT3. So out of the current market, looking at GT3s, the GT3 that I was highly looking at was a 991 GT3, which is the previous generation. When this opportunity came up, and which is weird because this is how the story goes, and I'm going to try to keep it short and as possible. So a buddy of mine by the name of Sean, you've actually seen him in maybe one or two of my other videos. Sean happened to have went out to lunch one afternoon. Sean is at lunch. He's overhearing a conversation at a table next to him with some gentlemen talking about Porsches. So Sean jumps in the conversation because Sean owns several Porsches himself. You know, he has like Turbo S. He has, 991 Turbo S. He had a 997 Turbo. You got a Macan. Like this guy's, he's just as much into Porsches as I am. And so Sean jumps in and he, tells him that he has a Porsche as well, this and that. And he becomes good friends with the guys over this period of when they're having lunch. Come to find out, one of the gentlemen that's in this conversation is a general manager of Porsche of Englewood, which is in Englewood, New Jersey. So Sean said to Roger that, he has a buddy, which is me, who's currently, kind of entertaining the idea of getting into something else. What can you do for him? So Roger says, here's my card, forward it over to Joe. It's like I wasn't ready to pull the trigger on making a move like that, but something was pushing me to do it. Something was pushing me to do it. So I spoke with Sean. Sean gave me Roger's info. Sean asked me, what if you were to sell your 993 to move into something else, what number would you feel comfortable with? And I told him, I said, it would have to be, I came up with a number. I made a list of all the modifications I did, and it's a really long list. And I put the pricing of everything that I've done so far, and it's really long, it's extensive. And I also came up with a number in my head that I felt comfortable walking away with if I could sell everything as a bundle. The 993, the RWB kit, the wheels, everything that I have, all the actual aftermarket parts that I have laying around for the car that I didn't even install yet, everything. So I came up with a number that I was comfortable with, and that's what I told Sean. So Sean is like, listen, just, give Roger a call, see how you feel about it. I end up giving Roger a call. I end up having to speak with one of his sales guys by the name of George. Awesome guy, by the way. Both of these guys, Roger and George, I'm gonna get to that later, but these guys are awesome. Porsche Englewood, I've never, they treat me like family at this dealership, which is the most amazing thing about it. And I've never felt this way at any other dealership, which is crazy. But, so I call, I speak to George. George asked me what I'm interested in. I said, listen, I'm looking at the 991 GT3. I'm also considering, I love 997s, like turbos and stuff, but preferably I would like a GT3. And, George says we don't have anything on the floor right now that, we don't have a 991 GT3 on the floor right now. Cool. I tell him, listen, I'm not really ready to pull the trigger anyway, because I would have to save up a little bit more to get that going. So George is like, hey, do you have a car to trade by any chance? And I was like, yeah, I have a 993. As soon as I said that, George, you could hear it's like in the cartoons when you hear the light bulb goes off, you could see the enthusiasm was like, he was like, oh, bring that down. And I was like, wait a minute, that's cool and all, but I don't want to bring it down because it's modded, it's heavily modified. And I'm not gonna get what you guys will probably, I'm not gonna get what I want for it because of the heavy modification, especially through a dealership. You guys know. So George asked me what did I do to the car that I'm very hesitant about selling it to the dealership. So I explained to him, I said, listen, I have this thing called an RWB kit. I was gonna do RWB, I modified the car, I did full interior, I did suspension, I did everything in preparations for this kit. I was like, everything outside of the bodywork. I was like, the car runs, the drives, it's original paint, everything is there. It's just the mods are done, but the car's an amazing car. To my surprise, George is a huge RWB fan. So is Roger at Porsche Englewood. George's response is, we're very interested in a project like that. And in fact, we would like to build the car in the showroom for press reasons, for the dealership, because I didn't know this, but Porsche Englewood is a certified classic restoration dealership. So that's when they deal with air-cooled Porsches like mine. They do full restorations, they do builds, they do in-house motor builds, everything you could, and which is not common. A lot of these Porsche dealerships, they just deal with the new end stuff. So it made sense. So George said, we're very interested, bring the car down. Okay. So I go down, a few days later, I go down there. I'm still skeptical about the thing. I go down to the dealership, I meet them in person, and completely blew me away from my assumption of how they were. Most Porsche dealerships that I went into, the guys are in suit and ties, very stush, very kind of bougie. A guy like me that walks in, I have sometimes I get overlooked, and you just kind of feel the vibe is just like it's just not a comfortable vibe. It's very they're trying to sell you. They just want to sell you a car, but they're not really standing behind the brand. They don't really understand what they have. They just want to just make money, and I don't like dealerships like that. And I mean, I get it. It's business or whatever. But George and Roger, I see these guys. These guys are in sneakers, jeans, looking like us. Well, looking like me, and these are the guys that own this dealership. They run and own this dealership. And I was like, oh, this is a Porsche dealership? And they're come to find out they're huge enthusiasts like most of you guys at home and just like myself. They see the car, they love the car. Love the car. They see it. I mean, I knew that was gonna happen. They wanted to run an inspection on the car. We take the car into the service side of Porsche's Englewood, Englewood Porsche dealership. We take it to the service side to do the inspection, to do like basically a PPI, just so they can make sure everything was good with the car. We go to the inspection side. They introduced me to one of their top techs over there who works on the air-cooled stuff. A guy by the name of Manny. Awesome kid, man. Awesome kid. Manny sees me, and Manny's like, I know you, man. And I was like, how do you know me, dude? I don't even know. I never met you before. And he's like, I watch all your videos. I've actually followed this build. And I was like, no way. And like, it was crazy. Like, it feels good because it shows that your work is being appreciated. Like, people actually watching the content. And so me and Manny instantly, we clicked. We started talking about it, and he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, you, and I was like, dude, your boss is thinking about buying my car to do an RWB build here at the dealership. Manny loses it. The guys in there start losing it because some of the other guys in there are young guys. They're all into RWBs and stuff. So they're like, it's a big thing now. Like, so Manny sees the car. He looks underneath the car. He's like, this is one of the best examples of a 993 that I've seen that's come through this door. He's like, do you drive the car? I was like, of course I drive the car. I was like, I drive the hell out the car. And he's like, well, that's why it's not leaking like most other 993s that sit in garages for years that don't get driven. And he's like, he's pointing out areas of, where things usually go wrong with these cars. And he's like, he's not seeing it on my car. And that my car is very well taken care of. And I was like, of course. I was like, that's how I am with a lot of my cars. Actually, all of my cars. I'm very, very meticulous with my cars. So we go, I tell him, I said, listen, the suspension is set up. The KWs feel amazing. Drive the car. Let me know what you think. So Roger, George, and I go back to the showroom side. We're talking more about the RWB stuff. They're excited. And I can see it. They really, really, truly are enthusiasts like us. And their excitement for the RWB was the same excitement I had, and I still have, for me doing the RWB myself. And I could see it in their eyes. And to me, I already started feeling so comfortable that, like, how when you put so much work into a car, you are kind of iffy to sell it to somebody that won't appreciate your work. I didn't feel like that at all. I felt like these were the perfect people to sell my car to if we could come to an agreement of them, at least us coming to a middle ground of what they could give me for my car, just moving forward with that. So Manny comes back. Manny's blown away by how the car handles. And I tell people at home, I was like, my car feels like a go-kart. It's literally a go-kart on the street. I tune the hell out of that suspension, the dampening everything properly to make it really, Manny's blown away by the car. He loves the car. He looks at Roger. He's like, man, buy this car. Buy this car. So Roger looks at me. George looks at me. And they're like, let's make a deal. Let's make we're interested. We want to buy the car. So initial thought in my mind as the pause happens, they're thinking over what number to say. I'm thinking that they're going to try to, of course, like anybody else, we'll try to start low and, then we negotiate to match where we're going to match. They look at me and they say, we're going to give you exactly what you want for the car. which blew me away. I didn't even expect that. So, of course, I didn't turn it down because the number I wanted was a very, very good number. Trust me when I say this. I don't want to disclose the number because out of just personal reasons for the dealership, and I don't think it's right for me to tell them. But I will say that it's a six-figure number. That's all I will say. And I'm very happy with the number. And that was the number, like I said, that I came up with and I felt comfortable with. So, also to give quick reference as far as the number that I was asking for the for my build, it was very fair. It's a very fair number. I mean, to me, it was the number that I wanted, but overall for the market of a RWB, it was very fair. If you see here, this is a 993 RWB that was on Bring a Trailer recently that just sold for $216, as you see, and that RWB had a branded title, unknown mileage. My car is clean title, clean, everything's clean, no accidents, no anything like that. But that car sold for $216. So if that car had a clean title and the mileage documented, that car would have sold for almost $300. I would say $250 to $300 range. That's what I'm predicting. I've seen other RWBs sell around that number. And because the wait time is insane for one of these, as the Porsche market is increasing, the cost of these RWBs are increasing as well because it's part of the Porsche market. But the simple fact of like why people are paying the crazy number for GT3s right now, the 992s, is because they don't want to wait. These are people who have money and they don't want to wait and sit on a wait list for a year or 2 years or whatever it may be to have these cars because they just want to get in one right now. And that's the same thing with the RWB because the car is not flying out, so you have to wait. And the way you bypass time is if you have money to bypass time. And that's what people are paying. They're paying a higher premium to bypass time. So Englewood knew that the price that I gave them was a great price. Was a great price. And that's why I appreciate them because they didn't, like, I would say, quote unquote, like disrespect me or by like trying to lowball me or anything like that because they knew what they were getting their hands. And that's how you know that they know the market, they know the culture. And even though they're a dealership and they deal with air cools and they deal with the pure side of things and then they deal with the modified side of things, but it's also to know that they know how the market on the RWB is and how hard it is to get your hands on one of these, So to that effect, it's like it shows the appreciation like of RWB itself and also that they respected me enough to not try to lowball me. So shout outs to them for that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like you don't get that a lot of places where they could just match your number without even. You guys try to sell something online right now or go out and try to sell something right now. And I guarantee you the people that you speak to are going to lowball the man, you already know. So I'm not even going to, but anyway, back to the story. So the next question that they asked me was, do you want us to cut you a check or do you want or what are you interested in? And I was like, of course, like I would really love a 992 GC3 allocation. And they're like, there's no allocations to even give out right now. There's just, those cars are so limited, just the demand for them is so insane. Either most clients have to have a relationship with the dealership already, or B, people are paying like, once again, an oversticker or whatever. So I said, at some point I would love to get on the list for one. When you guys get the new allocations, because every year I believe Porsche reaches out to these dealerships and tells them how many slots they're going to give them for the year for a GT3. So like, next year to basically tell them we're going to give you 10 allocations of a GT3. Now, it's up to them to decide who those 10 people are. And when you build a relationship with them, when you have a relationship and you've bought a few cars or whatever, you're one of the first people that they consider. Unless they're a dealership that's just strictly for profit and they just want to put it out as a bidding war to any customer who walk up, which I think is the most. I don't even want to go into that because I think it's so like it's disgusting to me that some dealerships do this. But whatever, because there's really enthusiasts out there that really want the car, that really would love to enjoy driving the car, that this is their dream car. And then there's people out there who are just buying it simply as a flip because it's just, I could buy it at this price, turn around and sell it and make another 100 whatever grand on it. And it's just, it's greed. And at the same time, I understand why, to some people it's just a business investment, a business flip or whatever. But it ruins the market for the rest of us who really are truly enthusiasts that really wish we could get our hands on something like this. But anyway, so George is like, he's like, I think there's something else you might be interested in. And I was like, what do you have? And he said, we have a 992 a GTS allocation that is actually supposed to land in August. And it's still fully configurable, still fully buildable. The reason why we got this allocation is because of the sales that we've done over here. Porsche gave us an additional allocation. And we were just going to build the car, put it on the floor, and sell it, or either offer it to one of our customers who are looking for a GTS. And I was like I've done my research on the GTS. The GTS is amazing. Like, it's shy of a Turbo S. The only difference is that you can option it with a 7-speed manual, but it's twin turbo, makes basically like 500 horsepower. It's faster than the GT3 straight line, but the GT3, of course, is a track monster. Lap wise, the GT3 trumps all. but it's a very fast car with very mod friendly because it's twin turbo. So I said, yeah, I would love it, but at the same time, I don't want. It depends on what your dealer markup would be because that's the defining question. So we negotiated, and they gave it to me as sticker. They felt like I gave them an RWB build, which they couldn't get right now because A, my spot on the list, and also B, Nakai's backed up, as you know, because of COVID. You guys been following the channel, and they're not taking orders for RWBs anymore. Like it's almost impossible to get one right now because he has to catch up. He's several years behind. For me to give this build to Englewood was like something that they always wanted to do. They always wanted to do an RWB, but like, they have a car that's already very well put together. They have the kit in their hand because you guys got to remember I have the kit in my possession, which a lot of people don't because of just the shipping prices have been insane during the pandemic. And then the wheels were already made. It's just they have to just choose the finish as far as the color for the face, and that's it. Everything else is there. They felt like I gave them something that they could only dream of right now. And in return, they're giving me something that I can only dream of because to get an allocation, even for a GTS, is also a year wait. It's similar to a GT3. Well, GT3 is actually harder than that, but for GTS it's hard too. Even base 911s right now are hard to get into, brand new. And to get it as sticker, if you look at 991 GTSs or if you look at 991 generation cars, the markup on those even used are more than what I would be paying sticker on a brand new 992 GTS, which is great. So I sat down with them and I configured the car. I built the car exactly how I wanted, and everything was locked in. And now I'm at the stage where the order is like, Porsche has the order with the freeze date. My freeze date was literally like a few weeks ago where you could keep making changes to your options up until that freeze date, and then it's locked. So Porsche could start putting the car into production as far as building the car. So that's where it's at now. Porsche's literally about to build the car. But there are delays as far as like parts and just like supply chain delays and issues with like the war that was happening in Ukraine, things with like China. It's like a lot of stuff that's been going on. Like even just the shipping in general, like the ports. I think like the port. I think it's Emden is called in Germany. There's like some type of shortage of workers. I don't know if there's some type of strike going on. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So my car was supposed to land here end of August, but it seems like it might get pushed back to September, or it might even get pushed back to the following month after that. So we'll see, fingers crossed. But in another video, the next video I'm going to do with you guys, I'm going to actually build the car with you guys to show you exactly the specs that I did so you guys can see what it came out to. Everything that I optioned the car with, like the color, interior, the options, the packages, all that kind of stuff. And, we could get further to that. But, I just wanted to tell my story about Porsche Englewood and how literally this happened because of my boy Sean that overheard the conversation. And since then, since the last time you saw the video of when I actually gave the Porsche over to Englewood, like I've been frequently over there hanging out with those guys. Like they treat me like family. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Like they literally treat me like, I've been invited to events, stuff that I've never even dreamed of even going to. Like there's an upcoming Porsche event next month that is a private invitation only that they invited me to. Of course, I'm gonna bring the camera along, but that's one of the things. There's other events too that they invited me to that I'm gonna be attending, big Porsche events, and it's like because they know that I'm a big enthusiast like them, and they see it, and I talk to these guys on a regular basis, and also I have some projects in the works with them. I don't want to announce it now. Those I can't announce right now because we're still locking that whole thing down with the projects, but they're big projects, very big projects that you guys are going to be very happy about, and that's also why I haven't been filming because I've been so focused on that, getting a lot of things off the ground with that. Even my company, I'm starting a company. It's I'm gonna get into that down the line too. I don't want to say too much about that right now. So that it's just been a lot. It's just been a lot. And like I said, I have another baby boy on the way, so I'm gonna have two boys. So Wish me luck. I really appreciate you guys for your patience. Now that you guys know what's going on, it will make sense why you're gonna see me a lot around Englewood. Because I like I said, there's a lot of events and I have other things that I want to film at Englewood. And then like I know part of you guys were gonna be wondering like, why is Joe is hanging around there, But now you know why. And also for the build, for the RWB build. I didn't mention this, my apologies, but I'm still gonna fully document the whole build process with them, everything, all the stages that they're doing. They're gonna, as far as like what they're gonna do with the car. But the cool thing about it is that they're still following my vision. They're not changing anything that I was gonna do. Literally, they're not changing anything. They might add a little personal stuff themselves, but the vision that I had for the car, that's exactly what they're staying with. The same color, the same wheels, the same color wheels. Like that's sick. And they want me, like they still want me very, very much involved. Like I've been the middleman between like RWB and them, and helping them facilitate a lot of things and put them in the right, communications with the right people that they need to speak to or whatever. But like I'm almost like a liaison for them for this RWB stuff, which is great. And they like I said, they still treat it like it's my car. When I go over there, they keep saying, "Yo, Joe, your car is this," and I'm like, "Dude, it's not my car." And that's what's awesome about it, So it doesn't even feel like I really like gave up the car, because I still see the car. Like they still want me to be part of the car, be a part of the car, and also the build is going to be public. As I mentioned in the video last time, the build is going to be public. So everybody that was going to come to my location where I was going to do the build, now it's going to be at a dealership location on the showroom floor. And trust me, the way that the plan that we have is, it's going to be bigger than what I was going to do, because it's going to be like DJs. It's going to be a DJ. It's going to be food. It's going to be like press. It's going to be like, you're going to see other. Trust me, there's going to be some other sick cars on the floor. It's going to be really big, and in the dealership, open to the public. So anybody looking for a Porsche, give Englewood Porsche a shout in New Jersey. Those guys are awesome, and specifically ask for George or ask for Roger, the GM. These guys are the best. So I just want to tell you guys what's been going on. And like I said, next video, I'm going to do a option breakdown. We're going to build a GTS together, and I'm going to show exactly how I built my GTS. And for anybody who might be considering getting a GTS, this is something good for you as well, to see what you're getting into and possibly what you might want to option on your GTS. But the goal is GT3 is next. So, and we're working on that right now. That's all I can say. We're working on that right now. So let's get the GTS landed first, which should be soon. And I'm working with Porsche Englewood, and let's just say the GT3 is not off the radar. The 992 GT3 is not off the radar. So fingers crossed, guys. But thanks for watching. I'm sorry that the story was long, but thanks for sticking it out. Peace.